down 15 pounds in 16 weeks, and he never touched meat. If you're new here, I'm Zach Rana. I'm a fat loss expert and biochemist. I've helped hundreds of frequently traveling professionals get lean and reclaim their health. Today, I'm going to show you how my client Vignesh was able to break through a plateau he had and get leaner, even while working long hours as a management consultant, traveling all the time, and eating vegetarian. First, we're going to go into what he was doing in the past and why it didn't work. Second, we're going to go over the science of the metabolism and how we actually manipulated his metabolism to get the results you see on the screen. And third, we're going to go into the actual tactics that we did and what you can use for yourself as well if you're trying to get leaner while traveling a lot for work. So first, I want to tell you what Vignesh had tried in the past. Keep in mind, he's a management consultant working long hours, and he had this stubborn bit of belly fat that he just couldn't get rid of no matter how hard he tried. He had grown up playing tennis, so he loved to play tennis and would play multiple times a week for 2 to 3 hours at a time. He was doing a lot of cardio and going in and getting on the treadmill as much as he could in between his meetings and at the hotels. And he was trying to calorie restrict himself. So he was trying to eat less food than he had before. And this approach worked to a point. He was able to lose an initial 10 pounds, but by the time he came to me, he had reached a plateau for 3 months where his body was refusing to lose any more weight, but he was still carrying a gut and was skinny fat. And he came to me and he was telling me, he was like, Zach, I don't know what to do because I keep spinning my wheels. I keep doing more cardio. I'm eating less food and it's causing me to feel really like low energy and not good. And yet the number on the scale is staying exactly the same. If you have felt the way that Vignesh was when he came to me, you are not alone. And it's actually not your fault because all of the fitness marketing and propaganda that you hear tells you that you need to do more cardio and you need to eat less if you want to lose weight. And yes, that does work to a point, but it does end up actually sabotaging you in the long run because it reduces the amount that your metabolism is capable of actually burning. And so what happened with Vignesh is essentially what he was doing was he was focusing on his active energy expenditure. He was like, let me just do more cardio, let me work out more and exercise more and burn more calories, and that will help me lose weight, right? But the thing is, he wasn't focusing at all on his basal metabolic rate. And what actually happened for him was his resting metabolic rate started to go down over time. And so what I'm going to go into in a second is the tactics of how we actually reversed this for him. But before I do that, I want to explain one more thing too, which is actually the thermic effect of food. And so what ends up happening is if you start to eat less food, your body burns less calories from digestion as well. And when you eat the right foods with the right macronutrients, specifically foods that are higher in protein, your body actually takes more energy to burn those break those down and then rearrange them into the molecules that it needs to use them for. And so you're actually losing out on the thermic effect of food if you start to cut your food too much as well. So with Vignesh, let's go into part 3 now of like, what did we actually do with him and how are we able to get him these results to where he's literally leaned out. Like you can look on his back especially, right? Like he's carrying fat on the sides that's pretty much gone, right? With his stomach as well, you can kind of see how it was like spilling over at first and it's pretty much gone. Is he 6-pack shredded? No. To be fair, he told me coming in, his goal was not to do that. He just wanted to lose the belly fat. So I would say overall, we were pretty successful with this. Now, if he wanted to take it a notch higher, he could have done like a full metabolic priming cycle, which I'll go into in another video. But essentially what we were able to do was drop a bit of belly fat and get him leaner pretty quickly. Like this happened over the course of 4 months. There's 2 things basically that I wanted to share with you. So one thing that Vignesh got really good at and that we really focused on was actually being an excellent planner, right? Because if you plan ahead, then you are planning for success. And you know, as the saying goes, either plan ahead or plan to fail, right? So if you're not planning ahead, then you are planning to fail, especially if you travel a lot. And what Vignesh realized was not only was he able to eat healthier, but he also actually did better at his job because when he was planning about his nutrition and being thoughtful about that, he was also able to perform better at work. The other major change that we made with Vignesh was I sent him to the gym and I had him start doing strength training because he had only been doing cardio at first. And again, like all this marketing tells us like, oh, try things like F45 and Orange Theory and try this new class. And the reason you're out of shape is because you're not working hard enough at, sign up for our new class. Like, they're all selling these classes, and classes are great. They're fun, great energy to be around. Like, Vignesh loved tennis, which is great. Like, I'm not saying that him doing cardio was a bad thing, but him doing cardio with the intention of losing body fat was a bad thing, because it doesn't actually work that way. And instead, when you focus on building more muscle mass, what ends up happening is you're building your metabolic engine. So if we go back to the diagram of the metabolism here, once you start to strength train, what actually starts to happen is you start to increase the amount of muscle. Sorry for my terrible handwriting. It's kind of hard to write on this iPad. But anyways, it increases the amount of muscle that you have on your body. And the more muscle you have, the more calories you're actually burning. There's an interesting fact I want to share with you guys. 1 gram of fat burns 2 calories per day. 1 gram of muscle, sorry, not gram, 1 pound, excuse me. 1 pound of muscle burns, can you guess? 8 calories per day. So 4 times the amount. 1 pound of muscle is burning 4 times the amount of calories than a pound of fat. So the biggest thing that I want to convey here, and that I really like, I will die on this hill, is that more people need to focus on building muscle than they need to restrict their calories, because Vignesh was actually able to eat more food because he was strength training. He was putting more muscle mass on his body. So I don't know about you, but I love to eat. I love eating good food, and I would love to be able to eat more of it, right? With the example of me, right? I was 130 pounds. This is me in high school, by the way. I'm kind of like putting myself on blast here, but I eventually was able to get up to 185, put on 55 pounds of muscle. Guess how much I was eating in this picture on the left? I was eating like 1,800 to 2,000 calories, right? On the right, literally 2,800 to 3,000 calories to maintain my weight. Right? Now, I'm not saying that you need to become like a bodybuilder or put on like, pounds and pounds and pounds of muscle, but even if you put on like 5-10 pounds of muscle, it's really going to change your metabolic engine, and honestly also make you feel a lot better, because when you have a low metabolism, these are the things that start happening, right? And I listed them in order of, severity. Is like weight plateau is the first sign, right? If you hit a weight plateau and you're eating less calories, that is a sign that your metabolism has slowed down. But then fatigue, can't focus, low energy, bloating, low sex drive, depression, insulin resistance, bad skin and hair, like it just keeps getting worse the more you kind of like dig yourself into that. So if you keep telling yourself, I just need to, up my cardio, and I just need to keep, doing more cardio, and I just need to keep eating less food, like you're just shooting yourself in the foot, because over time, these are just going to progressively get worse. And you're also going to just stay at these plateaus, which is not fun. So those are the main things with Vignesh. What ended up happening was, as his coworkers started to see him, make changes and watch his body actually change, they actually started to ask him for suggestions. He got, there's a screenshot of a new low weigh-in. So, if you want those types of results, like it takes doing things differently from what you've tried before. You'll notice here too, like he's leaner and weighs less, and yet his muscles are more defined, right? You see that tricep head coming in right there. So my biggest fundamental belief is that building muscle mass is the easiest, fastest, most surefire way to actually boost your metabolism over the long run. And that's literally based in science. So main takeaways from this video is to start strength training, start eating the right ratio of macronutrients, meaning proteins, fats, and carbs. If you need any help with how to do that, you can shoot me a message on Instagram. I think I might actually make like an in-depth training on like how to identify what macronutrients different people need at different body weights and things. Obviously, it changes as you go through different phases, but if you can start to nail that, start to increase your protein intake, like you're going to start to see benefits quite literally in the first week of doing that. So anyways, I hope that this video was helpful. Hit the thumbs up button if it was. Drop any questions that you have in the comment section below. And yeah, the last thing too is I'll also link Vignesh's in-depth interview. So if you want to hear from him directly, what he was doing, what kinds of foods he was eating, how he was making all of this work with being a vegetarian, you could check out that video. I'll link that one down below. All right, I'll see you in the next one.